The city streets were bustling with life that evening, a blend of honking taxis, chattering pedestrians, and neon lights reflecting off rain-slicked sidewalks. Jack, a young aspiring filmmaker, sat on a weathered bench in the heart of it all, his shoulders slumped under the weight of another rejection. Clutched in his hands was a worn notebook filled with sketches, unfinished scripts, and hastily scribbled ideas, visions of a career that felt increasingly out of reach. Jack flipped through the pages absent-mindedly, the words blurring together as his frustration mounted. "Why do I even bother?" he muttered under his breath. His latest pitch meeting had ended with polite smiles and the dreaded words, "We'll be in touch." He knew what that meant. The world seemed to move on without him until a voice cut through the noise, rich and familiar. "Man, looks like you're trying to solve all the world's problems on your own." Jack looked up, his heart skipping a beat. There, standing casually but unmistakably charismatic, was Will Smith. Clad in a simple hoodie and jeans, he blended in with the crowd yet radiated a presence that demanded attention. You're... Will Smith?" Jack stammered, unsure if exhaustion was playing tricks on him. Will grinned, the kind that instantly put people at ease. "Guilty. What's going on, young blood? You look like life just punched you in the gut." Jack hesitated, then spilled his story how he had spent years chasing his dream of becoming a filmmaker, only to face rejection after rejection. "Maybe I'm just not good enough," he concluded, his voice barely above a whisper. Will's expression shifted to one of empathy. He plopped down on the bench beside Jack, ignoring the curious glances of passers-by. "Let me tell you something," he began, his tone warm yet firm. "When I started out, nobody believed in me either. I got turned down for roles. People laughed at my ideas, told me to stick to music. But you know what I realized?" Jack shook his head, his curiosity piqued despite his gloom. "That rejection," Will continued, "it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of their vision, or lack of it. The only person who defines your worth is you." Jack sighed. "That's easy for you to say. You're Will Smith. You've made it." Will laughed, a deep infectious sound. "You see the glory, but not the grind. I was just a kid from Philly, broke and trying to make it big. The difference is I didn't let failure stop me. I used it as fuel." For the next hour, Will listened intently as Jack shyly shared ideas from his notebook. Will flipped through the pages, nodding, occasionally stopping to point out a concept he liked. He shared his own stories of rejection and persistence, each one more inspiring than the last. "Every setback," Will said, tapping the notebook, "is a setup for a comeback, but you've got to believe that." As the conversation wound down, Will pulled out his phone and tapped on the screen. "Here's my assistant's email," he said, handing Jack a note. "Send over your best script. I can't promise anything, but I'll read it." Jack stared at the note, dumbfounded. "You'd really do that?" Will smiled, his eyes twinkling. "Look, man, I've been where you are. If I can help someone climb up, why wouldn't I?" With that, he rose from the bench, gave Jack a parting clap on the shoulder, and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Jack clutching the note like a lifeline. The weeks that followed were a blur. Jack poured his soul into polishing his best script and sent it off, daring to hope for the first time in years. Then, one morning, an email appeared in his inbox. "Let's talk about your story." It was from Will's assistant. Jack's hands trembled as he opened it. Will had not only read his script, but believed it had potential. Months later, Jack found himself standing nervously backstage at an indie film festival. His first short film was about to premiere, and in the audience sat none other than Will Smith, beaming with pride. As the credits rolled, The audience erupted into applause. Jack's heart swelled as he looked out at the crowd, his gaze landing on Will. Their eyes met, and Will gave him a thumbs up, a silent message that spoke volumes. I told you so. That night, Jack stood in the glow of the festival lights, overwhelmed by the journey that had brought him here. A chance encounter with a stranger had reignited his dream and turned it into reality. It wasn't just a meeting with a celebrity, it was a reminder that kindness, encouragement, and believing in someone could change everything.